I'm
Right.
your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is going to be James and Sakura. Rob's got a week off. Guys, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, I'm good.
Start a little late. Sorry for the delay. Let's jump right into the thick of things here. We got Roman Gonzalez took on Julio Cesar Martinez. And James, I know you said it was going to be pretty one sided. I don't know. I thought for some reason in my brain that Julio Cesar Martinez would be able to keep up. But he was just completely outdone in every single way, from skill to athleticism. Everything was just outdone. Roman Gonzalez pretty much lost every round, but maybe what, two? And that
Yeah, he
went
took it.
pretty much exactly as you planned it to, didn't it, James?
I think so. I'm happy it did. I was a little nervous though because Martinez does bring a lot of punching power, and it's vintage Chocolatito. I mean, he came back. He was sharp since his losses to Sarungmasai, which were pretty devastating. He has bounced back and done well. He has only lost once since that to Gallo Estrada, and some people say that he won that fight. There's a lot of boxing pundits out there who believe he won. I don't. I think that Gallo Estrada won that. But getting back to the thick of things, Martinez brought his fight. That's his fight, man. He's a brawler. Um, Big, heavy combinations. Always moving forward. But Chocolatito took control. After I think I gave Martinez the first round, and that was it. Um, because he was patient and he was smart, and he's probably, I think, I'd love to hear your opinions on this. One of the smartest boxers out there.
Very
He does
methodical.
everything. Exactly. That's a key word there. He does everything well. He does his foot movement, his placement, the way his feet are splayed out. It's always just guy's poetry in motion. Um, and I hope I hope that we can see him fight Gallo Estrada, because I consider Gallo Estrada uh, top 10 pound for pound. And Chocolate is back. He's back, and he was looking fresh and finished strong. Dissected his opponent. Love to hear your opinion on this, guys.
Yeah, Sakura, I mean, I gotta come to you next. Is that how you saw that fight going? Honestly, when it was made, I thought Martinez was gonna be able to bully him around the ring, and that was definitely not the case. I think a lot of people kind of forgot that Chocolatito was pound for pound. He was highly touted, and he took those couple of losses, and he's kind of plummeted on the list. Like everybody forgot about him. Was this enough of a statement to say that he's back in the pound for pound rankings now? We got you on mute, Score. Score, you're on mute.
What happened?
There
Okay, you
you
hear me
go.
now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, I do think that he is a pound for pounder at this point. He's proven that. My thing was seeing the contrast in their conditioning. It was just such a great and stark contrast. And especially when the older fighter was looking so much more fresher and agile than the younger fighter. I know that stamina did play a part in this fight and in making Martinez look so much less than. But it's also a point that, as James was saying, Gonzalez does know how to move his feet. He does know how to trap you. He does know how to throw off combinations and hit you in different places you're not expecting that punch to land. And the main thing that I like too is that, I mean, he had some great defense. I mean, he had his elbows in, and it was hard for you to, even punch him to the body. I like that kind of movement, and I like that kind of, not just aggression, but also being able to protect yourself at the same time. And that's what I saw in Chocolatito. And I think that anybody that says that Chocolatito, you know, is getting older and he's 34 and all these different excuses we were hearing is now thinking like, wow, those sure look like fresh legs to me. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I have nothing but praise for him and his performance. For Martinez, the moment, I believe he sabotaged himself, guys. I believe the moment might have been a little bit too big for him right now. I feel that Martinez, being the younger fighter, should have been way fresher looking and have better stamina. We know that he had problems making weight. So that also contributed, because they did do a weigh-in for him the next morning to make sure he didn't go over a certain amount of pounds too. So it's a little sabotage in there, you know, mental sabotage. So in the future, we'll have to look at whether that mental fortitude that a lot of great boxers have, if he's able to have that. Because I think that might be an issue for him moving forward. I hated to see, I think the fight should have been stopped, by the way. I think that his team did not do him any favors by making him go the entire 12 rounds and knowing that there was no way he was going to win and taking so much more abuse. I feel that he should have been saved for another day, as he was a last minute replacement. And, you know, he did have 6 weeks to prepare, but I'm saying, like, save him for, you know, another day, because some of these wars can really shorten careers, and it just didn't seem like there was a benefit in that.
For sure.
I wanted to ask you guys. He came in over, I think he was 116.2, and I'm wondering if you guys think it was them trying to gain advantage with that extra pound, or what do you think? How do you guys interpret that?
I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, it could just be that he's starting to move up in weight and wasn't able to make it anymore.
Because he's a 112. He's a 112er.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just couldn't make it, but I don't know. I mean,
I feel like he just couldn't make it, because otherwise you wouldn't drain yourself. Like, if it was a strategy beforehand, you wouldn't drain your body trying to make it that close to it.
You would say, you know, oh, find me or whatever, or I'll pay you some of my purse. You wouldn't drain yourself to, so.
I'm wondering about that.
But, I mean, look, I hate to say it this way, but Julio Cesar Martinez is a limited fighter. But he limited himself even more. I mean, I you know how much you guys noticed, but everything was wide. All punches were wide punches. And in the later rounds, he actually did start throwing some straight punches, and he was able to land some 1-2s. You know, just some simple combinations. But every time Stevie Wonder could see those are coming, and you got Chocolatito, a very well defensive fighter. Of course he's going to be able to block those, you know. It's bad cornerman too. I mean, come on.
They were not the team for him to be facing this fight. And I hate to say that, but they did not give him any advice that would help him through the fight in any of the rounds to me. I mean, just telling somebody to go out and you need this round, you know, but how? You know what I'm saying? Like they were missing and slacking a lot with that.
Yeah.
Well, in the corner, in Martinez's corner after 10 and after 11, man, he was just beat. I mean, you could see it in him. He was just done. And his corner was getting him ready to get him back out. And I'm thinking, do you really want to go out? You really want more of this?
I think he was hinting.
He's done well.
I mean, you heard him say, my hands hurt. Like, I'm tired. He's hinting, like, pull me out. Like,
right.
You know.
I thought so. I really thought so. I understood everything he said, but just the look and the posture to me said this guy's done, and they should probably consider throwing the towel or stopping it right there in the corner.
I mean, fighters don't say that. Fighters don't say that unless they want pulled out, because you will get Gotti that, oh, my hands hurt. What do you want me to do about it? I don't know, but I got to go back out there, you know?
There's a thing with some boxers, man, they just don't stop. They go out regardless of, you know, what their nose looks like and how bad their cuts are and what their jaw feels like. They're going back out regardless. And I think Martinez, man, he could be one of those guys.
For sure.
And as far as style goes, he looked good against a guy like Isaac Cruz, if they were in the same division and whatnot.
Yeah.
Stylistically, bam, I said this before, they come straight at each other, and they just,
collision course, yeah.
They
they're
give each other
there.
hell. They give each other hell. I see these fights are used to. I don't watch these fights as much anymore on Friday nights from like Mexico City or different parts of Mexico on the Spanish channel. And that's a lot of what we had. Now, sometimes there was some really talented boxers in there, especially in the lower divisions. But yeah, that's what a lot of what we get is two guys just straight at each other. It's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
So but man, Vincent Chocolatito, after his losses to So Rungvisai, man, I felt bad, and I thought that, man, it was at that point, where maybe it's time to hang him up. He had the record. He's done well for himself, probably very wealthy, lives in Nicaragua on American money. It's good. But here he is, renewed, going for it. And, there's some really big competition out there. Inoue may not happen. That's Top Rank. But I'm thinking maybe Donaire.
That would be an amazing fight. Donaire.
Yeah.
I was talking about that with someone online the other night, and I was like, dang, they both got big names. They both are known for their talents. And Nonito with his power, he's clean. I mean, that's a lot of positives right there. And anything can happen in his fights too. They're like really dramatic, they entertain us. So I do think that would be an amazing matchup as well, James.
And then there's also now, how's that?
Who does promote Chocolatito?
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it K12 or whatever that used to do Golovkin?
I'm not sure.
I'm not really sure. I know. I mean, if it's on the zone, usually it's Golden Boy. So, I mean, I know they have a partnership, but I don't know who else.
Well, if it's who I think it is, all of those fights are makeable.
Oh, it's Taken.
Is it? I think that might be makeable for pretty much all of them.
Yeah, because he always thanks Mr. Honda of Taken.
Okay.
And he did in this particular case, his post-fight interview. And then I was thinking Jesse Rodriguez, or Bam Rodriguez, as you may know him.
Right.
I mean, some real serious competition. Maybe not. Maybe a little bit too young for that level of competition. Maybe not, because he beat Carlos Cuadras. Carlos Cuadras, serious shit. And in a way, I tend to think that they probably wouldn't make it simply because Top Rank, DAZN, who knows?
Is Roman signed any kind of deal? I thought it was more just a one-fight thing. I didn't know Roman's inked down for DAZN.
Well, no, I mean, he's fought on DAZN before. Yeah. We saw him fight in Mexico City versus I don't remember the individual's name, but Gallo Estrada and Carlos Cuadras also fought on that card.
I think his promoter being Tekken or the K12, whichever one it is, I mean, he gives him a little bit more freedom, I think. I'm not sure if he's actually tied down to anybody. I'm not 100% on that, but...
Well, there is Inoue, and that would be a really, really great match. I would probably favor Inoue on that. But honestly, the over-the-hill gang, Chocolatito and Donaire, that's what I want to see.
You could make a little tournament.
I agree. That's top of the line right there. I mean, I know he was supposed to fight Estrada, right?
Yeah.
He got COVID, but now I'm more interested in this Donaire fight than I am him against Estrada for the third time.
Fans got to force that fight. We got to force it.
Yeah.
It's coming. I think that they'll do it this summer because it is a trilogy and it is a tie at the moment.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's great.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, that division is really heating up. I mean, it was a couple of years ago, even for myself. We all know how Rob, our colleague, feels about lower weights. But, I mean, it's a few years ago that I really didn't know much about those lower weight classes as well. But now it seems like everybody is starting to really catch on and really be fond of that division. So, I mean, when it comes to super flies and flyweights and featherweights, like down in that lower range there, bantam weights, super bantam, all those weights is seem like it's getting a more emergence of people, fans interested in those divisions.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it's picked up considerable compared to what it used to be. Go ahead,
Right.
James. What were you gonna say?
well, in Latin America, I mean, that's basically what people are following. And there's just a big Latino population in the United States, so those weight classes are really beginning to get a lot more attention, and I think they are showing just a lot more excitement. I mean, I much rather watch that than a heavyweight. If I was given the choice, it's definitely going to be a super fly or a feather or whatever it is. It's
I
just more action there.
I agree. It depends on the heavyweights, but for the most part, I agree.
I mean, the other thing that makes it more appealing to fans too is the fact that they're fighting each other. You
That's
know, they're actually the best is fighting each other. So, I mean, that makes it something that more people are going to be interested in. Not just the Latin market, but boxing fans in general, because we want to see high level competition, and they are providing that now.
completely agree. Let's talk Ramirez Pedraza. Now,
Oh,
Ramirez was a little rusty, guys. A lot of people are saying also that they saw Pedraza win that fight. How did you have it, and how did you see it?
I saw it comfortably for Jose Carlos Ramirez. He's pretty much in charge, but he had some great competition and he took some good blows. Pedraza is a serious contender. He's one of those highly educated Puerto Rican fighters. Um, just a peach of a fighter. I mean, he does everything well. Um, Good foot movement, good head movement, always bladed, gloves always in the right spot. I mean, just guy's wonderful to watch, like so many Puerto Rican fighters. Um, but I think in this particular case, what really sets him apart, I think that the punching power that Ramirez brings is just a little bit much, and he can withstand a little bit more too. See, I saw him push Pedraza back a little bit, and so I'm pretty comfortable with the decision. I didn't score that fight. I watched it post, so I knew who had won, and you know,
oh, you
but
did. It's see,
good
I
good
can't.
fight.
Once I know the winner, it's like hard for me to sit there and watch the whole thing. It's like, damn, now the whole anticipation and everything is ruined for my mind. So it is a little bit more difficult for me to watch it after I know the results.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I couldn't watch it on Friday night. I was just done. When I got home, I was done. It's like one beer, and I was like, out. Had a long day, but I did watch the post fight. That was pretty good.
But
Okay.
Sakura Ramirez is your guy. I mean, you used to tout him pretty highly. Were you impressed? Did you like what you saw?
You know what? I have to say that I saw some holes still in his armor. I saw some things that I feel like that he should still be improving on. And if he'd have met the a different Jose that night, because certain that's the thing about Jose Pedraza is he's excellent. He's very skilled. He's very technical. But if he's off just a little slight bit, it's like you can tell the effects of that, especially when it comes to his punch output. So I did see some things that I was like, there was some rounds there that could have been better action, I feel. And one thing that Pedraza was very clever with, guys, because I have to give him props for one big thing, and that's it. He limited the number of body punches that Ramirez usually gets off. He's known for his body work. He's usually very vicious with it. And that was a touchy area for someone with Pedraza who has a very small midsection. So I think he was excellent in his defensive maneuvers of keeping him from being able to really, punish his body that much. So I had to give him his kudos for that. And like, I'm like, damn, this dude, because I mean, that's like his target zone right there. But I still got an issue with Ramirez and him just coming straight forward, and not being as crafty as he should be while he's being aggressive.
Well, he's Mexican.
Well, I don't know if he decided that he was gonna do it with Pedraza because he didn't respect his power. And, I think he was taking more chances with Pedraza than he was with Josh Taylor. And yet he still got dropped by Josh Taylor for doing similar tactics. So I think it might have been that he just didn't respect Jose's Pedraza's power. But still, and yet, by coming off this loss, you want to be looking as flawless as possible. You know what I'm saying? The fight was set up for him to win, and it was set up for him to be able to showcase, his improvements and that he was back, ready for action. So we shouldn't still be seeing them same type of mistakes we saw with Josh Taylor. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost a full year.
I'm still
right?
crazy about him, though. I mean, I'm still crazy about him. He did to me seem like he was a little bit more like that fight with Josh Taylor took a lot out of him. He looked like a boxer who had just been through like, a serious war for sure. Like as far as his, energy level and stuff. I didn't see him quite to the peak level as I'm used to, but damn it, he's still a great boxer. He's still like, I mean, any fight you want to make with him at 140, I'm there for it. I mean, I'm telling you, my favorite matchup that I've been wanting to see for so long is Ramirez versus Prograis. I mean, I think that's an amazing freaking fight. I mean, the fans are gonna get exactly what we want to see. And I can't really say which one would come on top. I would be leaning towards Prograis since he did have a more closer fight with Josh Taylor. But I mean, I think that would be a ferocious fight. Seriously.
I can see
Well,
that.
Prograis's got a fight coming up either this weekend or the following, right?
Right.
And he's fighting in Dubai, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his opponent offhand or much about him. I read his name somewhere and just hope he does well, and then maybe we can see that fight because at 140, those are the two top names. So I guess Taylor is jumping ship to 147. As far as
yeah.
Now, guys,
Yeah,
do you
he
think
said
that's
that.
a good idea for Taylor to jump to 147?
based on his last outing, no.
Yeah, based on the last fight, no, not at all.
And I think that
knows, like, I mean, you can't make that 140 is hard to make for some reason, guys. It's like, we seem like it's nothing between 140 and 147, but damn it. I mean, a lot of boxers in that particular weight class have a problem keeping and maintaining that weight. So I don't feel like he should drain himself. And if he feel like it really affected him in his last fight, yeah, you do need to go ahead and commit to the larger or the greater 147 division, because if it's going to make him look that tired and that not that good, he doesn't need to keep trying to maintain that 140 status, and try your luck at 147. I know they're trying to match him up with Bud, but I think that's a seriously bad idea.
no way.
He's got to warm up to 147 before he even thinks about anything of that caliber. But I'd say he needs to stick at 140. The same for Bud though. I don't think moving to 154 for Bud is a good idea either. I think he needs to stick at 147. Try to clear house at 147, and then you can decide to move up if you need. But it was good to see Ramirez back. I do see what you saw, Sakura. There is still some flaws. I was hoping that it's just ring rust because it has been almost a full year that he's been out, but I guess we'll see his next fight. Let's go to the tweet of the week.
All right, let me pull it back up. Okay, so we got Timothy Bradley. Well, actually we got Wood Conlon. That's the person that tweeted, so shout out to him. But he says Timothy Bradley believes Canelo Bivol is going to be tough and very competitive fight. Bivol has European style. He's a technician. He has similar tools as Triple G, accented jabs, left hooks, and straight hands. He controls the distance very well. Has good foot movement, footwork, and counter punch skills. Well, I guess we think this guy is going for Bivol, obviously, but there was no mention of what Canelo brings to the table in this fight. But I mean, I know some people are like really hype about this fight, including Lucas.
I think that's a quote from Tim Bradley.
Yeah, that is a quote from Tim Bradley, but he did post, that's what he liked. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I feel like Bivol, he's gonna be a more competitive fight than what we've seen him with up till Plant. So I'm feeling like, maybe this is worth watching. Am I excited about another pay-per-view though? No. But I'm just saying, like, I wasn't excited about a Bivol fight. I really wanted the Charlo fight. He decided to go with the DAZN Bivol fight because he likes Eddie Hearns. He actually literally said that on Saturday night, that's the reason why the Bivol fight is happening. So let's hope that he doesn't regret those words, and it is a huge upset if Bivol does and it is able to show Canelo some different skills than he's used to.
I am super excited. I think this is honestly going to be his biggest challenge to date other than Triple G. Now, is it going to be harder than Triple G? I don't know, but only because Canelo's moving up in weight is that I'll give it, that possibility. Bivol's, you can forget about, the counterpunch skills because it's going to be hard to outbox Canelo. But if anybody can do it, Bivol is up there as far as skill goes. I am more curious about the footwork and just the style clash I think Bivol is going to benefit from as far as the Canelo fight goes. James, since this fight's been made, I know, everybody here actually. I talk a lot of shit about Canelo, a lot of hand-picked fights, kind of brought up with a silver spoon, so to speak.
Boxing.
Yeah, but, some people are thrown to the wolves, some get the silver spoon.
Right.
Canelo, had that fan base and was brought up that way. And, Bivol has kind of earned his place in the world. But I do think that this is his toughest challenge. A lot of people are already looking past Bivol and like, oh, we want to see Triple G, the third fight. I'm not, but James, what kind of chances do you give Bivol?
Well, good question. I think that if you want to see what Bivol can do, you go back and you watch Joe Smith versus Bivol. Dimitri Bivol is an exceptional fighter. His movement in the ring is more like he dances around the ring like a welterweight. He's very light on his feet. He's exceptionally bladed when he fights. So he's got a very long jab, and he's got very good reach too for his size. He's just a natural at 175, but he's a lighter version of a 175er. He's very light on his feet. I think that he can give Canelo a lot of trouble with that long jab. Canelo's got a lot of good, upper body movement though, to counter that. A lot of good head movement. He parries his punches well. I've seen him fight in Perry and in Foreman and in Baltazar, where he's, higher hands, catching punches with his elbows. He does it all well. He's got a lot of dimension as far as his defense goes. So this is a hell of a matchup. But if you are thinking like, what can Bivol do? Just go back and watch him versus Joe Smith. He shut Joe Smith down. It's 12-0 if I remember correctly. 12-0. And so that is a lot because Joe Smith's a strong fighter. He's a very, very strong fighter. And I think that maybe in the last round he may have landed, if I remember correctly, a couple of good punches that kind of shook Bivol. But Bivol shows chin. He shows chin in all his fights. So this is just a classic matchup. This is a classic. It's unfortunate that it's on pay-per-view. So we had that talk last week.
I mean, but it's pay-per-view worthy with everything that you guys have said.
Yes and no.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my statement last week was that, well, I shouldn't say it in front of a lady this week, but they got us going. They got us coming and going. And it really sucks, but it's pay-per-view and that's all it is. And you just make the best of it.
Right.
I know. Now, my last question for the tweet of the week, dealing with this particular situation, is if we had a Bivol, I mean, if we can compare boxers and opponents of Triple G, of Canelo, would you say that a Bivol versus a Plant per se, I mean, who do you think would have the upper hand if they fought each other?
I see.
Yeah, Bivol. Yeah, almost shutting them out.
Bivol.
Okay.
Most definitely. He's just that good. He's that good. I think the only other name, based on his power, his strength, his ability to absorb, is Artur Beterbiev. And he's a Russian fighter, and God knows how Russian fighters are going to be treated going forward with all the stuff that's going on in Ukraine. There's been some statements from the guy at WBO, I think it is, Val Carcel, Paco. So that's run out of Puerto Rico, as I think it is. You might know more about that. That they're not sanctioning fights with Russian fighters, and I'm like, you got to give these guys a break too. You know, they're fighters; they fight for a living. They're not attacking Ukrainians. They're primarily here at home in this country.
Yeah, they fight, but they would not rank them on their ranking system right now.
I thought that was kind of a low blow to any Russian fighter out here who's participating in any WBO activity. I think with Bivol as a Russian fighter, he will be presented as not a Russian fighter, but like a neutral fighter or something. And they're not playing the Russian national anthem, and he's not allowed to wear the colors of the Russian flag. Yeah, I think that's worked into the contract.
Yeah, he trains out of Canada, and he's been there for quite some time. So, you know,
and he speaks English pretty well.
Yeah, and I never saw them really pushing him as a Russian fighter to begin with. You know, it's not like he was marketed that way and now they want to change it. It's like they never talk about that aspect of him from day one. It's unfortunate for Russian athletes right now that's getting caught up in the crossfire. But the fact that, you know, when you actually live in Russia as an athlete, now you're open to, you know, Putin deciding that you need to be, you know, they actually give them drug enhancements, whether they want them or not. So that's another aspect that these powers that be are thinking about. If they actually train and live in Russia, they're especially after the ice skating incident with the Russian female boxer and finding a heart medication in her system, they are kind of like taking the pose that, you know, there's a lot of things with the athletes that are coming from there, and whether or not they are in a fair advantage with an opponent or not, being that they have to partake in those ped usages, you know, a lot of times not of their own free will.
I mean, I'm all for, like, I understand we need to ban Russia in a lot of different aspects. In this case with, you know, like Beterbiev, it doesn't really suit him. He, you know, what's he going to do? Now, if there's a Russian fighter over there that's picking up arms and actually, like, participating in the invade of Ukraine, no.
Right.
You know, by all means, he should be banned. Let's not even do anything with him at all. But to pull him from rankings just because of his nationality would not be cool. Like, I can't help what Biden's doing. You know what I mean? Any more than he can help what Putin's doing.
Right.
Yeah, but it really is a good time to say that. I really think about the Klitschko brothers, and I know that Usyk has taken up arms for his country.
Usyk, Moma's joined the fight now too.
Yeah. And I think Lomachenko is involved in this as well. And I guess Victor Postol, who just fought one of the Russell brothers, Gary Antoine, is headed back home to Ukraine. And it is, man, I just think this situation is horrible. But pray for the exactly.
There's a female champion that's also taking up arms with Ukraine as well. So, there are some females that's big and bad enough to be willing to fight for their country too. So I want to send a shout out to them, especially when it's Women's Month. Yeah.
And her name is Alina Shaternikova, and I'm not too familiar with her, but she does have a shotgun.
I mean, look, I already would not mess with no Ukrainian fighters. I mean, you just named off the ones that we were talking about: Klitschko's, Lomachenko, Usyk. You're like, man.
It's like, I don't want that.
All of them are rich enough that they don't have to fight. They don't have to participate in the war. They can come over here and live, comfortably. They can go anywhere they want. They have millions. Yes. Millions.
Yeah, I think that Usyk was in
the UK.
Living in the UK, right? Yeah, and very, very comfortably.
Yeah.
He's gone home to fight, and hats off to him. Man, what a horrible situation.
They're amazing. They're just amazing people in general. And I just think and introspect on whether or not I could pick up arms and fight for the United States in that way. Like, totally mentally, I'm there for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, mentally, I'm like, yeah, let's get this shit done. You know what I'm saying? USA all the way, baby. But then when I think about actually being out there and almost getting killed, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I mean, women don't really need to fight, right?
No, but that's something that we'll never see here because our military budget is insane. Okay,
and
now if you compare it, but if you compare it to Ukraine, I think the LAPD's budget is bigger than Ukraine's military budget.
Wow,
but it's not even that. I mean, if you think about somebody trying to invade like that, like on the ground, it's not going to happen because Wisconsin's registered hunters equals the second largest army in the world, and that's just Wisconsin. You can think about how many of these rednecks and everybody else with all these guns. I mean, we can't go a day without shooting each other, let alone having invaders come in. America comes together when we need to, and then we'll go back to fighting each other like brother and sister. You know what I mean? I don't think it's happening over here. I do want to say it's very not anything to do with boxing. We kind of talked offline about how certain things didn't matter. People changing their little banner to like the UK or the Ukraine banner. But slowly I'm starting to see stuff that made a little bit of a difference, or at least to turn the Russians against Putin. Even little things like suspending Netflix. I mean, you gotta imagine that's a big source of entertainment, But you have all these other things that start to mount up, and you're like, man, screw this. Technology is actually going to be against Russia because
there right now.
Yeah, we can slowly just cut them off. Well, you want to act like that, then we're just going to not have anything over there. You just deal with anything that is built in Russia and built for Russia. If you want anything else, you got to go, inside your own country. So. I think it's really cool what we're doing, and
you're totally right, because it's supposed to be like, even when you protest, it's supposed to be uncomfortableness. Right. You're creating a situation where people are uncomfortable in order to make them change what they're doing, and that's the way you do it with Putin. Is like, you're starting to make his people and his oligarchs uncomfortable enough to be like, hey, cut this shit out. I need my Netflix.
Yeah.
I need my money. I need my boats. I need to get where I want to go. My kid wants to go to the US to college. You are screwing us up right now. So it's like it's supposed to be made to where you're making someone uncomfortable in order to force the change. But you're right. When we do this, the social media, and we got our blue and yellow, flags and different things, it does make a difference because it shows our politicians and the people that make decisions that we're on board with them assisting the Ukraine as much as they can. So I think it does make a huge difference, because if nobody was doing anything on social media or supporting our boxers from the Ukraine, the U.S. would be taking a totally different stance with them right now, and definitely not providing the kind of money and weapons that they are.
For sure.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And then another thing is that there has been a lot of entertainment in Russia. Most recently, Jorge Linares fought in Russia in a city called Etekin. I can't say it. Etekinburg or whatever. He fought there recently. He fought there a week or two ago. With all that's going on, all that's gone out the door, and there's no boxing athletes or boxers, I should say, headed towards Russia for anything. And I mean, in our little world of boxing, their world in boxing is just as small. It's a niche sport, but it's just the way it is now. That's something that they don't have, and it goes along with the Netflix, and it goes along with the credit card services that are suspended and all those other things. And I think that they're going to move on suspending oil imports, which would be very, and it's going to cost. It's going to cost us. It's going to cost us, and I will pay. I won't pay for pay-per-view. Fuck that. But
I think
I'll pay for gas.
I think Biden said it's going to be $8 a gallon within the next couple days. It'll hit $8 a gallon. Now,
well, we
more than anything, it's like stop the war. You're messing up boxing for us too. I mean, we can't see Usyk, right? He should be having a big fight. Lomachenko, I mean, he's pound for pound too. You got two of the main guys right there, and they're holding stuff up. I mean, Russia needs to act right. So hopefully this is all over here pretty soon. But
look,
Zelensky. I mean, President Zelensky is doing everything that you would want your leader to do. I mean, he's rallying his forces. He's, making sense when it comes to reasons why he needs help. He's out there, like, making sacrifices, sending his family over the border and not just escaping, which, governments have offered for him. I mean, everything you would want in a leader right now. And that's amazing that they chose someone that didn't have that type of, political background. And he's able to live up to the hype, per se.
But also risking his life, because apparently Putin has ordered him
assassination.
Klitschko's on the same hit list.
Right. Oh yeah, they're real big leaders over there. They're civil rights leaders for their country as well. Plus, he's mayor.
He's mayor of Kiev.
Yes. So it's like they are high up on the list. You're right. Oh, and also, just for a quick minute, guys, while we got time, let's say Brittany Griner, the basketball star that's being held.
Right.
Let's, everybody, I hope they can say a prayer for her, because there's no telling how long she would be. I think she's in serious trouble right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not
it's political,
but because she's stuck. They're not going to be trying to budge. I don't know why Putin thought this was a great idea. First of all, she's an African-American woman. It ain't like you took a blonde chick with blue eyes. It's not getting the type of publicity and the type of attention that it needs to right now. And it's serious for her because, he likes to starve people, give them uranium, chemical weapon, poisoning, all kinds of things that he does so that when you do finally get them back, they only got hours before they pass away usually. So let's hope that she has a different outcome.
Well, that is Lucas
Ali.
Yeah.
Say that again.
I said, what we're missing now is Ali. He went over and got those people. I mean, we need somebody like that. Unfortunately, I don't know if we got anybody anymore.
Well,
Well,
there's
like
Nico,
Trump.
there's Nico Ellie Walsh. She might be able to help.
That's true.
Yeah.
never mind.
We can take
we can send Floyd over there and see what happens. I mean,
Trump. We can have him pick up the phone and call. I mean, if he's able to make something positive happen and get her out of there, that goes a long way.
that's true.
I mean,
If
he's supposed to
if
use
we're
all
gonna-
your resources in situations like this.
If he's buddies with Trump, I mean, hey, we can make that happen. Make everything go.
Yeah.
I would rather send Mike Tyson over there and he'll straighten him out.
Roy Jones would be good. He did make him a citizen. He's a Russian citizen, remember?
We'll just send Sylvester Stallone, and they'll be like, "Hey, all right."
Oh,
We stop.
You're right. Roy Jones is a citizen there. He was given honorary citizenship because was he promoting fights there or something? And
Yeah, he was in a couple of fights
Yeah,
there
yeah.
towards the end before he
yeah,
retired.
yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. But Lucas, the young lady that Sakura mentioned,
Yeah.
is I guess a professional basketball player. Is that correct?
Yes, two very young basketball players that's was caught in some fire and firestorms and didn't make it.
Well, no. I'm talking about the young lady that you were talking about being held.
Oh
in jail.
yes, Brittany Griner. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, she was. I think it was. The charges were for possession of marijuana or maybe like CBD or some oil or whatever it was. But that's not kosher. It's not kosher in Russia yet. And so
That's kind of a hard one. That's kind of a hard one. I don't know. I mean, you can't really try to do anything drug related at all in another country. I'm afraid to even leave the United States, let alone get some drugs. I've seen some movies and but
You've probably been doing that
especially
for
with this going
time.
on. Yeah, that's...
and it's cannabis oil, the ones that you use, CBD, like you're saying, or CBD, where you rub it on yourself for like aches and pains. And the shit does work, by the way. So just saying. But they were just looking for any little thing anyway, because that's leverage for Putin to have with the US, keeping one of their citizens kind of like hostage. So, they were going to find something to detain somebody that was American anyway. I
hadn't heard about that until just now. So
yeah, she's with the women's NBA. I mean, yeah,
I didn't even hear nothing about that. But
see, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I want to, seeing Zelensky, real quick. It's funny because there is no way that you could ever picture a Trump or a Biden picking up arms for their country. It would never happen. Even if it came down to it, no, it's really happening. They're in a bunker somewhere secure.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking. Listen, we all know it. I mean, Emilio said that the other night. He said, shoot, ain't none of these presidents we had gonna do something like that. They is not staying. They gonna be on the first thing smoking out of this country if something like that would have happened.
Meanwhile, you got Ukraine fighters being flown into the country to be able to
right.
And my hat's off to them. And I think everybody in heavy bag boxing will agree. Our hearts are out for all Ukrainians everywhere. That being said, also for the Russians that are not in Russia, the ones that are living amongst people, don't start doing what we did during COVID-19 and beat up Russians and beat up the Chinese. Let's not do that. Keep the peace. That's what we're all trying to do anyway.
You got to realize that, Russia is like, they're on a dictatorship. He doesn't want to be called a dictator, but that's what he is. Those are the moves he makes. So they kind of like, if any opposition that he's had in the past has been squashed or squelched by poisoning or by locking them up, for little different prison things until they pass away. So, you got to realize that they don't have the freedoms we have to just change our politicians when they do things we don't like. They're stuck.
Yeah. I'm going to end it with this sentiment because I think this is the best way to go. Putin wants Ukraine that bad. Why don't we settle it in the ring? Zelensky Putin. You want to? I'm pretty sure Zelensky gonna whip that ass. All
oh
right.
no, go with the KGB. I'm gonna have to go with that former KGB, Lucas.
Many years ago, when the Argentines and the English were fighting over some island off of the coast of Argentina, I thought, man, war? Come on, 90 minutes on a soccer field, settle it there.
Yes.
I think it's called the Falkland Islands, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
Like, just maybe best of three. Shit.
This Greek island, maybe you have to meet on this Greek island and you have to fight till death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But before you cut it, Lucas, I did want to say that there was a really exciting fight on the Chocolatito card, and it was a young man from France, and his name is Suleiman Sissoko, and I'm wondering if you guys got to watch that. Suleiman Sissoko against a Mexican from
that was an amazing fight. Now
Sonora, Mexico, at 154. So his name is Valenzuela.
I did not.
Roberto
I missed out on a lot of DAZN because of DAZN. I know I screenshot it and sent it to you guys, but it was a technical error after technical error, and I'm like, and you people want pay-per-view? But I mean, I had to. The only way I could get it to work was actually on my phone. Like, the app didn't work. Then I tried to pull it up on my computer, same issues. So I got to see most of the main event, but not even everything, sadly.
Well, in the end, Sissoko won unanimous decision in a 10-rounder.
But it was close.
And I would just love to see Suleiman Sissoko fight again. Fantastic fight. That fourth round when they both went down was pretty hot. It's pretty good.
I gotta go back and watch that now.
154 is a damn good fight. Huh. Yeah. So it's a pretty good card all around. And Mauricio Lara also won his fight in the third round with a KO.
I did.
Well, he took down his opponent and the ref.
Yeah, you remember you saw that.
Ray Corona went down. I don't know how he went down, but they both ended up on the canvas, and I think he was getting in there to separate them and call it a fight, call it a day or call it a night, whatever you want. But he ended up kissing the canvas. So hats off to Ray Corona. He's a good ref.
That Venezuela and Conceição, both. I would like to see both of them in that division against other opponents. I mean, that was pretty good.
Sissoko, you will see again, because a guy like that, man, he's going to get some fights. He was really, really exciting to watch.
And one thing about 154 is that they do also, they're a division where they do actually fight each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're great opponents. They don't. Everybody has to fight everybody in that division.
They're kind of forced to now, 154 for a while there was pretty stacked, and then it kind of cleared out. It almost became like a cruiserweight division where, they have to fight each other because there's really not a ton at 154.
Right. I mean, they have had some move up, like Lara, he moved up to 160. So did Hurd. But other than them two, you still got Jamel Charlo as the big dog. You still got Banana. You still got.
I thought Charlo was going to be moving up too, though.
But he hasn't yet. I mean, I think that he never. They don't like to be in the same.
It, but
he got to wait till Charlo Jamal decides to move up for sure to the 168 zone, because they don't like to be in the same division at the same time. I see. So they probably gonna just hold steady with, he has the Castano fight still that's been rescheduled. So, I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be really special, I think.
Yeah, that would have been next weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
And so that got pushed to mid-April, I believe. Not sure, but it's been rescheduled. That's all cool. And I think that Los Angeles is not going to have that fight. I think it's been moved out of LA.
Oh,
we'll
really?
See. Yeah, hopefully it's here. That'd be awesome if it was here. I might be able to make that. But
a great fight, man. I can see that one be. I mean, the first one was amazing. I love the action that they both gave in that fight, and it was a close fight. Although I do feel that Brian Castano won it. The thing is that they want to prove that Castano was actually injured, because someone didn't believe that he actually had an injury. So after they demanded that, we didn't hear anything else. So I guess he provided the proof that was necessary. for them to get the change in date.
Yeah, most of. This weekend we do have some Showtime Next Generation on Friday, so definitely tune into there. Check out all the upcoming fighters. Let's see what else we got here. We have Panama City, Panama. By the way, the Next Generation on Showtime.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a televised boxing event come from Deadwood, South Dakota. So, hey, boxing's getting out there. I appreciate that. But,
and they're coming to Orlando more, too. They have another card with Showbox Next Generation that's coming to Orlando at the Caribe Royale. I believe that's at the end of the month. Or it could be April, but they got some fights lined up.
Yeah, I love the Friday night Next Generations and the Friday night fights type stuff. I love to see them getting some exposure.
Yes.
Also, that Friday, Panama City, Panama, you got Jessica Bop for the Bop's WBA Women's Junior Flyweight, and that's against Jessica Plata. Unfortunately, that fight is not even televised. Promoters, come on now. Women's boxing,
I know.
get with
at least
it.
give us a live stream.
And then Saturday we got Leigh Wood versus Michael Conlon for Wood's WBA regular featherweight titles.
Yeah, the featherweight belt.
Yeah. So I do like Conlon. I was seeing him in person, actually in Chicago. So I'd love to watch him fight. He's always entertaining. So that'll be interesting to see too. But that is for this weekend. So definitely check us out again every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget, check us out, heavybagboxing.com, and we will see you